basically a survey software, but unlike, basically just any kind of software that just builds forms, what we do is we actually bring people to respond to your surveys for you. So in the context of e-commerce, you can poll things like for Amazon, for instance, which brand name do you like better? And you can say, I want to ask 50 women, or I want to ask 50 homeowners, or I want to ask 50 dog owners. And we can actually bring those people to you. And what's going to happen is you can say, okay, do you like this one better or this one better? And not only will they vote, but they will write a comment explaining their vote. So you can see both qualitative and quantitative feedback about which of your creative options performs the best. So what's great about it is you can really test any kind of creative idea. So you can test a business name, or you can test packaging ideas, or a logo design, or any kind of landing page headline, or really anything you can think of. You can get it in front of 50 to 500 people in an instant and get your results back very, very quickly. And the nice thing too, like I mentioned, is you can really define what that audience looks like. So if you have a very specific customer niche, we can help you reach those people to bring you unbiased feedback.
So first, immediate red flag, I'm sure you guys get these questions all the time, is how do you make sure that the people you're getting answers from aren't just trying to mess with you? Because it's the internet. Totally. No one trusts the internet.
That is a great question. We actually spend a lot of time on quality control. And so we have a lot of internal processes in place to screen people out who, don't or may not take your question seriously. And so we do a lot of work on the back end to make sure those people never get to your poll. But we also have quality controls after you submit your question. So for instance, if you really think that an answer is inappropriate or, wasn't serious, you can flag that. And we can take actions on our side to make sure that person doesn't come back. And what have you. So we've actually spent a lot of time on those quality controls, and you can take a look at other people's polls to get a sense of, the quality of our answers. But I think you'll find that the people that come to answer the polls are very thoughtful. And I think what they reveal is always very interesting for the people that are running polls.
So, forgive me, I can't remember his name. I met you guys at Prosper.
Yeah, Justin.
So the Justin, thank you, that was it. And so I remember talking to him. The most interesting thing was, so you guys didn't originally start out trying to get into e-commerce. It just kind of fell in your plate. And
right.
the big benefit, at least at that show, obviously there's a ton of other benefits to it, but the biggest benefit we saw was like Amazon sells, you can't A/B test anything. You just throw it up and you just kind of hope it works. So we spoke with them about A/B testing different images and things like that to see which one would be more enticing to purchase and all that, which I thought was great. I'm like, that's amazing that you guys built out this company and then found an entire industry you didn't even think about going into. So in layman's, it's a online market research, right?
Exactly. And the best part about it, I think, is you're right. I mean, there are softwares out there that can help you split test your Amazon listings, right? But the problem with those kinds of tests is, number one, they take a long time. You've got to get, like 1,000 clicks or, hundreds of clicks to your listings in order to get any data. What we do is we provide something that's very fast. Most of our polls complete in about 15 minutes. The other thing is, if you're going to try to do a live test, in order to get sort of that critical mass of clicks, usually you've got to pay for ads, right?
Yeah.
You've got to drive paid, Amazon PPC ads to your listing. this takes place outside of the Amazon marketplace. And so you can really just get it in front of 50 to 100 to 200, 500 people and say, what do you think? And you can get your data back very quickly. The other thing is, because you're saving on the ads and everything, that tends to be a less expensive option. The other thing that I would say is that, if you are doing a live test, I mean, obviously you can get click-through rates and you can get, data like that, but you don't get that. You don't get the written comments. You don't get the people saying, you know what, this is confusing to me, or I didn't get, X, Y, or Z, or I really like this color over that color. So all of those things are kind of, benefits that we bring by being outside of that live setting. The other thing too is if you're doing a live test on your product, and let's say, your new version of whatever performs worse than your old version, then that's lost revenue. So that's a risk you take when you do those kinds of tests. And so, what's nice about what we do is it's something that you can do before your product goes live, or if your product is live, then you can, test, to see if the changes you think about making will help, and get a sense of, okay, I have a, good sense of, that this is going to do better. This is going to, people kind of respond better to this one over that one. So all of those things are a little bit different, running surveys with PickFu versus doing those live tests.
Yeah. To speak to Amazon specifically, I think another one of those problems too is that those softwares, like I don't use any of them, because mainly we find people shop differently on different days. So some of the software is like, okay, we'll change it every other day. Like, great, but my Saturday is much worse than my Sunday, so now my data is skewed. And then you also have the issue of when you push a listing, even if you do it yourself, Amazon goes through ridiculous amounts of like whether it actually goes live or not. So sometimes the problem there too is you don't even know if it actually switched. You can't even really tell.
And the results really tend not to be definitive, I find.
Yeah.
Whereas
so I was like, kind of.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's like, well, there was a little bit of a difference, but I find that in polling, people are very clear about their preferences. I mean, I was just looking at a poll today, right, where it was for a fitness band. And what we found was that women and men reacted very differently to these two product images being tested. So, men definitely liked, ooh, I like the sexier picture. Women were actually very turned off. So if you discover an insight like that, maybe that helps you determine, okay, how do I market this product? Is it for women? Is it for men, et cetera? So I feel like you uncover a lot of things outside of just which photos should I use or which brand name should I use. You kind of start to discover how to message your product and really what your target customer thinks.
I know doing like an actual, classic Mad Men style market research can cost like thousands of dollars to have 20 people sit in a room for an hour and tell you what it's like. Now I know they're not sitting around answering questions for an hour, but still. So how does pricing work for something like that?
Okay, so it's funny that you mentioned the Mad Men style focus group, because I used to work in advertising. I had to sit in behind the mirror.
I want one of those mirrors so bad, just to say that we have one.
Yeah, exactly. So the way that it works on PickFu is we have a number of different plans and pricing tiers. But, to answer your question, at a starting level, you're looking at $50. And for $50, you will get 50 responses from basically what we call a general audience, meaning the first 50 people who, respond to your poll will then, respond to your poll. And so you kind of get a mixed bag of, women, men, age groups, what have you. Just it's kind of a first come, first serve. So that is basically the base product. Now, you can add more people. For instance, if you want to poll 100 people instead of 50 people, you could do that. You can also more clearly define who you want to poll. So you can do things like, I only want to poll college graduates, or I only want to poll vegetarians, or I only want to poll people who drink coffee. We have a lot of different sort of demographic and behavioral traits that you can use, and those will all change the pricing slightly. And as you build your poll, it's only going to take you a minute or so, but as you build it, you'll see the pricing calculator update based off of, you know, how many people you're polling, the kinds of options you use, and, you know, how many options you're testing. So, you know, it tends to be different based on your needs, but it starts at $50.
Yeah. Oh, still, it's $50. It's
exactly
like for some of the stuff that like brand name testing or logo testing, like that's stuff that you usually pay like thousands of dollars for, sit in a room and get some guy to tell you about it. But so how truly specific can you actually get with the demographic? Like how narrowed down can I actually get so that I'm hitting as close to my target audience as possible?
Yeah, so the way that we work it is, you know, we have kind of a lot of parameters that you can use that are obvious, right? Men, women, age groups, education, things like that. One of the things that is particularly useful, I think, for Amazon sellers is you can also target just Amazon Prime members, so people who have an Amazon Prime membership.
There you go.
So that's actually a really great option for our Amazon sellers. Now, the way that we do it is you can actually add up to 4 demographic traits. So let's say, for instance, you want to do female Amazon Prime owners. That would be 2, right? If you want to narrow it even more, you could add an age group. You could add, you know, whatever else we've got. But the caveat I would give is obviously the more you specify, you know, the smaller the universe of people will have in our respondent pool to get to you.
Yeah.
So we say, you know, most polls complete in 15 minutes or less, and that's true. But if you're going to get very specific, then it's going to take a little bit longer, and it's going to cost more. But, you know, we've got all of those targeting kinds of behaviors in there, and it's just really interesting. You can mix and match based off of you know, what you need. But I found, just kind of as a bang for your buck kind of thing, people love just polling Amazon Prime members.
How big of a list do you guys have right now of people that, you know, are part of the poll?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, we've got thousands. I mean, but again, you know, we don't just take anybody. We take the time to do a lot of quality control. And so we do screen these people. We do have back end sort of, you know, quality controls, but the list is extensive. And, you know, I've run polls, for instance, where I have polled married women, you know, and it took in something like that with 2 traits, right? Married and, you know, women, it still took less than an hour. So, you know, it's a large pool, but like obviously the more specific you get, the smaller the circle's gonna.
Can you request? So if I said married women, right? Mm-hmm. I would get 50 people if I did the minimum, but I can do more, right? If I said married women, but I want to do 500 of them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That's awesome.
And then for some reason, you know, if some reason we can't meet the demand, whatever, if, you know, for some reason, you know, you'll obviously will
there's not enough people. Yeah. Awesome. So I'm sure, you know, I love keeping these short, sweet, and just straight to the point. So obviously, you know, really appreciate you doing this with me. I would love if you would kind of give just some closing remarks, let everyone know where they can find out more about PickFu.
Definitely. So again, you know, I assume that most of you guys watching are e-commerce sellers. And so I would definitely encourage you to check out pickfu.com/ecommerce. You'll see a bunch of examples where e-commerce sellers just like you tested things like their product names, their product images, their descriptions. And one nice thing too is that before you commit to inventory, you can actually run polls based off of which design do you like, which color do you like. So, you know, if you're thinking about what product options to even offer, that's something great you can do by testing mock-ups before you actually go into production. So I think all of those applications are very useful for e-com.
That's awesome. Much appreciated. Thank you so much. Obviously, anyone who sees this now or sees this later on YouTube or on our blog or all that fun stuff, feel free to ask any questions. I'll send them over to PickFu. We'll make sure we get everything covered. But really appreciate you doing this with me.
Yeah, of course.
I'm sure you guys will hear from me soon because I can already think of like 10 things that I just want to like send out there.
Wonderful.
But really appreciate it. Thanks so much and enjoy your
All
Friday, right? Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.